Aaron, I'm recording and you're recording.
I'm recording and you're recording.
Yes, that's true.
Si, c'est vrai.
We did it. We make podcast.
Okay, you're going way past my really bad French and Spanish, but we'll go with that.
I was actually hoping for Esperanto.
What the fuck's going on down there?
If you kept up with the society, you'd know the Esperanto word for podcast. I'm not going to tell you. I can't say it actually in a recording. It's illegal right now. But what's not illegal is that we're recording a podcast. Hey, Aaron, welcome. We're WTF at TCG, at WTF at TFW's TCG offshoot podcast. Hi, Aaron. Hi.
Hi, Chris. Hi.
We have some TCG stuff we want to talk about because it's new. It's news, and I think it's exciting, and we want to talk about it, so we're going to do that. Energon Edition. This was over the course of, I believe, 14 days or less.
No, it was like a week.
A week. Oh, no,
they were
14
doing,
was
they
the
were,
number.
Yeah, it's 14 letters in Energon Edition, and everybody was sitting there like, end one? End Nedion?
I kind of was staring at the point where I saw someone guess Energon Edition about a day and a half ago. Because the final two letters were the two N's, so it was Energo Editio. Yet, still there were still a lot of people going like, "Man, what is this? I can't suss this out." And I'm like, well, fella there said Energon Edition. If you add in two N's, I can't imagine if we're that close to the. Okay, well, and then we found out, hey, it's Energon Edition. So this is our version of MTG's Mythic thing. The Mythic celebratory pack or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They've done 3 of them. The first one was very cool, and then they kind of grew less interesting and more disastrous as time went on, which I spectated. I almost bought the War of the Spark one in a moment of enjoyment of War of the Spark. And
Isn't that for like the 14 minutes that it was live online?
Yeah, I saw it. I could have put it in my cart, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do this. And then I was like, no, I shouldn't. I don't think I care enough. I wanted the Ugin full art, because I like Ugin.
Okay.
And then that was, I think, was that the one where there was a huge debacle, and then there were cancellations, and there were uncut sheets, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
I think so. Because there were there were like people that got charged for 2, and then other people that didn't get charged for any. And then there was an apology that went out of an uncut sheet, but then people's post offices were like folding these big packages that say "do not fold" in half, and then
there were also
like.
Well, there was also a second party involved, that being eBay, and apparently between Hasbro and eBay as corporations, there was a colossal amount of mess. And that's not going to be a problem with this Energon Edition thing, because Wizards is selling it themselves because they have a storefront. Thank goodness. I didn't want to go through eBay.
Yeah.
But this is a Mythic Edition. It's celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the TCG. It is focused very much on Wave 1. Beating around the real important thing here. The video that they put up, by the way, I like how it opened on the crowd pops, and then it was like Slipstream, Cliff Jumper. And then it's like, and agility of Bumblebee. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, Cliff Jumper and Slipstream. That's cool. So this is 6 character cards. As it's been described, they're done in very fancy material, semi-translucent credit card-like material, which is incredibly exciting to me. That's like right up my alley. New art, new borders as well, or new frames is the word.
Yeah, I love the frames.
Yeah, they look very slick. I'm curious, like, how the translucence will work. Like, it's not very easy to tell in any of the photos necessarily. But I'm hoping that, like, the smoky gray bit around the name is kind of see-through-ish.
Well, yeah. So if you look at the way that the names are on either side, and the tag locations are, those are the same layout.
Oh, that's got to be like a pseudo window.
Same with the box around the character text and the like changed way for the stats block.
Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah. Any of that could be kind of window-like. Hi, hello. I'm a time traveler from the future of several days after this recording took place, which by the time you're hearing this is actually in the past for you, the listener. Anyway, those silver bordery things they're talking about, those are see-through. There's a video that Transformers TCG social media put up. They are completely see-through. It's fairly cool. So that, to me, that's kind of the massive draw of this, is these fancy pants celebratory character cards, featuring Cliffjumper and Slipstream, which is, I mean, this is not like it's tremendously easy to get them, but it means that you don't have to rely on a 2018 convention pack. That
you know how much those packs are, at least right now?
Like, what, 250, 300?
300 and 350 are eBay listings. Let me double triple check here so that I cannot be accused of shenanigans. Yeah, the $260 buy it now. $300 for a lot, including 330. Single cards going for 95, 92. There's a sealed pack for 500. Somebody trying to maybe slip that one out. That might be a new listing. I bet somebody's trying to get ahead of the of this release.
I'm curious how this is going to impact that pack, because it's arguable precisely what in that pack at any given point is maintaining its value outside of just rarity. I mean, Cliffjumper definitely caused a spike of some kind, and then as far as I understand it, All Out Attack is now ridiculously hard to get a hold of, more so than before. I played against local fellow Ryan Basito is running an Anticipation Cars with triple All Out Attack to try to ensure to have one in hand within the first 2 turns. And that is actually a thing. He proved me wrong about all the times where I said All Out Attack is okay. It is useful to be able to basically sacrifice one of your opening team to obliterate one of the enemy characters once you have the opportunity in the opening turns. So, we'll see how this affects that. The upside is Slipstream and Cliffjumper, even with All Out Attack showing some legs and maybe tandem targeting system someday coming around, Slipstream and Cliffjumper were always, for most people, like the two where it's like, these are 2 whole characters that are hard to get a hold of, and so they're in an expensive Mythic edition type thing, so they're not, like I said, they're not, you can just buy them off the street or anything. But new printings, as far as I know, these are all legal. If I had one little qualm, I really would have liked to see All Out Attack and tandem targeting system in here as well, just to close the book on all that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a time traveler again. So we had another reveal some days after this podcast, which was supposed to be a reveal that happens in December, apparently, and it was done earlier because people like myself were yelling about this. So Energon Edition will include 1 foil copy of All Out Attack and 1 foil copy of tandem targeting system. Now, obviously, especially with tandem targeting system, we are looking at an old discussion we had back when the San Diego Comic-Con pack came out, which had 1 tandem targeting system in it. However, all of that aside, at least that's a thing that is relevant to the Energon Edition. I'm happy they're in there. Should they have been playsets, you'll find a heck of a lot of discussion about that. Also, a little spoiler for later on in this thing, a lot of discussion about whether or not people want the Wave 1 boosters. So, going forward from here, I, the Time Traveler, will try to leave y'all alone. Just bear in mind that the rest of this recording, we did not know that those 2 cards were going to be included, and also we had not whatsoever looked to see how people were reacting to the Energon Edition, or even more specifically, the Wave 1 boosters included therein. Time Traveler out! So hopefully, if this is a thing that they are thinking of doing more than this one time, those 2 cards could find their way into one of those things. Because the battle cards in this are play sets, and foiled with new art, should mention.
And the thing is, though, they're also very related back to the cards that are in the set.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I mean, that's the whole theming for that. So, I wager if there was an All-Out Attack or tandem targeting, that, like, if they could find a reason to say, like, hey, these match there thematically, then yeah.
I mean, let's be real. SDCC 2018 pack is a pretty tight theme,
right?
Also, All Out Attack's greatest use that I've seen so far is with Cliffjumper, and tandem targeting system has planes on it.
Yeah, but what's more Cliffjumper? Start your engines for the cars deck, or All Out Attack?
I actually don't have a good answer, because my experience playing against Cliffjumper has been that All Out Attack setup. Both of those cards get used in it. Don't get me wrong, but
I think just about everybody else would go with start your engines before All Out Attack. But you can go on and keep living in your weird Canadian island.
I would say All Out Attack matches Cliffjumper more than tandem targeting matches Slipstream. Like, when I think Slipstream, I do think Bombing Run, because that tidies up nicely with her planes assistance mechanic. The other characters in this are basically the 2 13-star rares, Optimus Battlefield Legend, Megatron Living Weapon, and the 2 super rares. So those 4 cards, like if I was going to say premium up for Wave 1 cards, it's like, yeah, do the 2 13 stars and the 2 super rares. That kind of represents, at a glance, a lot of pulls. If you want to get real meta about it, one could say, Grimlock instead of Megatron. But then, sure. Okay, well, sure.
Yeah. Then you're not matching like faction parity and other issues.
We can come up with lots of reasons not to do
Yeah.
it. Anyway, so the cards coming, the battle cards coming with these, with Cliffjumper, it's Start Your Engines. With Slipstream, it's Bombing Run. With Optimus Prime, it's the Ion Blaster. With Megatron, it is the Fusion Cannon. With Bumblebee, it's his Agility. And with Nemesis Prime, it is Cargo Trailer. Hell yes! Premium art Cargo Trailer. I'm happy about that. I just built a deck with Cargo Trailer in it that made me very excited. Also, there's some dice. Energon cubes. They're swirly blue, translucent-ish looking, probably more swirly than translucent. Dice, they are technically damage counters. They are also just straightforward 6-sided dice with numbers on them. That's cute. Honestly, for an official damage counter, I really would have liked to see something flat and flippable, because I think that's actually just physically better than dice for this game. I know everyone uses dice, but I hate dice. Because all it takes is one person putting the damage counters on their character and going to flip them, and it has happened constantly, and it is so irritating.
Yeah.
I would have liked for these to be flip over flat damage counters. That said, like, whatever. That's like the 4th thing in the package, technically. And there's also a booster box of Wave 1 that comes with this, which is very Mythic Edition-esque, and I believe there is some, like, actual reason why that's done. I recall vaguely there were talks around when the first Mythic Edition dropped, when people were really biting into the thing of, like, you're telling us this is a fancy pants draft box. And I think that bundling it with all these cards is some kind of thing that I can't actually identify as a layman. But
I could see it being a way to appeal to other people, because frankly, even before like we were getting letters, I had seen a lot of people, and I'd kind of been thinking about it myself, of like trying to get another box of Wave 1. Because there's still a lot of power, a lot of staples in Wave 1, and so I think it's a good way to say, like, hey, for people now that are starting to maybe get into it a little bit later, that they'd come in on it on Wave 2 or Wave 3, or now Wave 4 here Friday. Wow, Friday, dang. Like, this has got another way to get, some Wave 1, along with having the value of these premium cards that are the guarantees, the cool cube, like, for as many of those are going to be pitched by people, just the box that it goes in with the slide out part for the battle cards and the dice and the big Energon cube thing that drops down on top and covers it all up. I think that this is a good way like, for the consumer, hey, you're getting another box worth of Wave 1. If nothing else, there's value in that. And depending on your game store, that's $80 to $110 of value.
Yeah, and
then the premium stuff on the other side of it, even if you were just going for individual card value, not to be all, like, I guess, TFTCG finance on this.
Well, then we can just say Slipstream and Cliffjumper would cost you more than this thing would cost you.
The SDCC pack, is going to cost you more than that. So just those 2 cards, boom, there's your value, and everything else is a gimme. I mean, though the SRTs are still doing strong, and OPBL goes for as much as those Wave 1 SRTs last I looked. So there's a lot of value in this on top of it if these were just the other cards.
Yeah, because it's
versus
like, it's
being these
bucks.
cool plastic.
Let's just say, like, with quote-unquote MSRPs and everything, like, it's $200. About half of that is that Wave 1 box. Then the other half is all the fancy stuff. Like, I have a real, like, solid take on this that I'm really feeling confident of, which is that this is just categorically better than the Magic Mythic Edition in many ways.
I think one of the cool things that Transformers can do that Magic can't is get weird with the character cards, because those aren't getting shuffled into a deck. There's nothing else going on with those where you have to keep the back the same or keep it in the same dimensions, even though anybody at a competitive level that'd be buying something like this, or a collector's level that'd be buying something like this, is probably going to be sleeving. Like, you can get funky with it.
Can we even sleeve those cards? Because how thick is that material? Like, we don't know that quite yet.
You're looking to see if you can triple sleeve them still.
Well, no, that's a given. I actually discovered how to do that with the advent of artwork backed sleeves from Japan that then require a protective sleeve for the artwork on the sleeve. Is a thing I learned about.
So you could. Oh, so you're saying triple sleeve the.
I'm talking about the battle cards. Yeah, the character cards, they haven't quite yet made me all the tools I need. Actually, I want to quickly dial back because there was something I meant to say.
Yeah, they have. Perfect fit, regular fit, hard case.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a
triple.
Hard case.
It's 3.
Is that a sleeve or is that a top loader? You know, it's an argument.
That's a top loader, but it's 3 layers of protection there.
People have made the argument. I got to cover something you mentioned before. Because I think it's kind of, I didn't say it because I want to let you finish your point, but the idea that someone new to the game would just go like, well, I guess I'll pick up the Energon Edition.
Well, I'm not saying somebody that's entirely new, like, what is this? But like somebody that's been onboarded in a later way.
Guess I'll pick up the the 1 year celebration collector set. I
don't know, man. Collectors are weird. We've discovered this over the last 10, 11 years of doing the podcast and more time of everything else. Man, collectors are weird.
Also, I do think that if there had to be a booster box of packs added into this, it should be Wave 1. That is absolutely the right choice to make for all the reasons you mentioned. Wave 1 is full of staples for a lot of popular decks. It's the place to get the double pip rares. And hey, how funny would it be if you pull 4 of those character cards in their normal versions from those packs? Probably mathematically unlikely, but it would be pretty funny. If you did. But yeah, like you were saying, and this is part of my argument about why this is just better than the Magic Mythics, is because of what we can do with character cards in this game. And the thing about the Mythic editions that in the end will always kneecap them to some degree is that the fanciest parts of the Mythic edition, all the fancy full art cards, are still cards.
Yeah.
And it is, I've always bought into the argument I heard on various YouTube channels of how difficult it is to buy the idea that some freshly printed cardboard is inherently more valuable than other freshly printed cardboard when sold by the company that makes the cardboard. It makes the Mythic editions like just really odd to look at. You know, that whole thing about, you know, the secondary market and how it can't be acknowledged, but, you know, tap nose. Our Mythic edition thing, our Energon edition, like, we have some fancy cards, but they are battle cards, and we're given play sets of them, which is fantastic, because that means that is 18 foiled alt art cards, technically. It's, you know, 6 times 3. And then our character cards are this, like, premium new material that, like, we have not had done yet. Like, it's brand new, and it allows them to ship standing upright if they ship, like, in the box, because they're not cardboard. So,
right.
It's just way more exciting to me. It's, to be honest, like, I was kind of, you know, I was poking some fun at those Energon damage counter dice. The only reason I'm kind of jabbing at them is because everything else about this package is so cool that those dice really feel like they showed up and they weren't aware that it was like fancy dress night. They're like, yeah, damage counters, what's up? It's like, oh, this is for the Energon edition. I'm sorry. But yeah, if someone was already playing the game and had not yet gone back for some Wave 1, like, obviously, yeah, that's great for them. I'm still into getting another box of Wave 1 because I would like dupes of lots of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm not against. I'm a weirdo. I like to have lots of pre-built decks, so you know that's not going to be for everyone. But you know, a box of Wave 1 is, if you start getting into the finance side, like, you can feasibly have a decent chance of opening stuff that you could then sell to, hopefully, to your local store to get some more booster boxes of stuff you're into. Either way,
you gonna try and do the booster box game on Energon editions?
I was trying not to, like, name drop Magic the Gathering channels when I was talking about stuff. What gets in the way of a Transformers booster box game of trying to get your money back off a booster box is it is 100,000 times easier to resell stacks of Magic cards than it is Transformers cards.
Yeah.
In Toronto, there is precisely one store that actually takes in cards, and they are particular about which cards they take in. I would have to imagine, given how people over the last year have told me about difficulties they've had getting the game going locally, that it is not common to be able to just go and sell Transformers cards to your store. Although, I wish more stores would react to that with like a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Enthusiasm, because it means then they have singles stock, and everyone playing this game would like to buy singles. At least in Toronto, I guess. But, yeah, this Energon Edition, it's out, what was it, December 2nd? Or is it December 1st? December 2nd. Cybertron Monday. $200 on Wizards online store, thankfully. I think this is overall quite a positive. I think it's incredible that our game has this in its first year. And like I said, this is just better than the Magic one. It's more exciting than the Magic one. I feel less like I'm being asked to spend a lot of money to just gamble again, like with the Mythic Edition. It's even presenting its guaranteed cards better. The Mythic Edition, like, puts them in booster packs. Under this, I was yelling about this, and someone who likes drafting at, I think it was at Three Kingdoms, was telling me it's kind of cool that, like, it's made so you can draft with these expensive full arts. And I'm like, okay, yes, sure, but for a lot of people, like, they're probably buying it and just shredding it open and figuring out how to part out everything they don't want. And with ours, like, I just like we don't have that guise, you know? Like, our fancy character cards, they are front and center. No, here. We're going to make them look nice, even, in the box. So hopefully we don't run into any, like, problems actually being able to get a hold of this. With Wizards' own stores running it, obviously it can still crash, but with Hasbro having a much stronger online store right now than in past, I'm confident that it's not going to go terrible. Also, this is not Magic, so we're not going to have that deafening amount of traffic. Like, you know, when Magic Mythic Editions go up, you have stores trying to buy as many as possible through employees. I don't think we're going to run into that necessarily with this. It is expensive. I saw someone actually quote one of those YouTube channels saying they can't wait to be told a Transformers product is not for them. This one is like I don't think as a player you need this, but I do think it's nice, and I don't think it's made for investors at all. Unless Wave 1 boosters become gold in the next 2 months, or someone's like somehow has projected that they're going to become gold, like. And also, they're still in print. Like, I should clarify, as far as we know, Wave 1 is not out of print, as of our recording. So, like, I just think this is, like, it's a nice fancy thing if you like the game. If you really need Cliffjumper and Slipstream, I could see this as being a bit of twist in your arm. I'm glad that they're out there. I'm sure someone out there is going to part this out. It's probably not going to be cheap still to get Cliffjumper and Slipstream, but hopefully that just brings down their prices overall. I don't know, like, I'm trying to be as realist about this as I can, because I am very excited about this. I am very, very pleased with a majority of this box, and most of my qualms are minor. Like, my main qualm is really, like, not something I can go into much detail about, because I don't know all the logistics. I wish I could buy the Energon Cube and not the Wave 1 booster packs if I could have worked around that. But okay. I'm not like, I don't know, I'm not going to be mad that there's Wave 1 boosters involved. It would have been cool if this was a $100 thing with just the premium stuff. But
I think that'd be a lot harder sell for a lot of people to be $100 and you get 6 characters, and math is failing me even still after 18 battle cards. Yeah. Like, well, at that like, it'd be a lot harder by, I think, even for me that would be interested in it, but it'd just be like that cuts the other way a little bit too far.
I should clarify, me and Aaron have actually, we went right ahead to record this podcast. We don't actually know how the community's responded yet, because we wanted to it just timed out really well for us to get our thoughts on right now.
Do it without being soured on what everybody else is saying, the obviously flawed ideas in this.
Obviously
we can be enthused about it now and then have our hearts broken later.
What I was gonna say is I'm actually curious, like, the Wave 1 boosters included is the thing. I'm curious what responses will be to that, because there is like a card collector side of that I'm still very new to, and I actually don't really know if like you were just saying, like whether the boosters not being there would actually make this less of a draw or more. And speaking for myself, like I said, I'm not against getting more Wave 1 boosters. Like, more cards the merrier for me. I'm really hoping we can see this credit card material stuff show up more down the road. Like, this is precise. Like, the gold foiling is cool, but now that this is on the table, this is incredibly cool for promo cards. Like this is, and also like, you know, foiled battle cards. It's nice for those to finally exist. I guess. Like they're fun to put into decks. I think like foiled cards for decks you really like. I'm loving that. Like the logical choices also mean like agility of Bumblebee. I wonder if we're gonna have like a fresh thrush of like agility of Bumblebee is funny to me because also we haven't had Bumblebee in the game for 2 waves. So I'm like, man, there's not really like fresh tech for that card either until we get another Bumblebee, I think. But Cargo Trailer, like Wave 4, I think is going to open up Cargo Trailer. So now we got premium Cargo Trailer. Aaron, any other thoughts on your end about this? Anything that I might have forgotten to cover while we were talking about this?
I got in my joke about you trying to triple sleeve this thing.
Oh, you mean like, I mean, okay. I could try to sleeve the cube, too.
I mean, that's easy. You just get a Lexite cube that's slightly larger than that. They just sell things like that. I was
going to say saran wrap first, you know, triple sleeve.
Oh, yeah. But see, that's not one entire thing, so I don't know. Would that count as a sleeve?
If you give me a big enough piece of saran wrap, I can make it.
What if you got like, you know, the window cling that you put on your windows in the winter, and then you hit it with a hairdryer to get it to tighten up? What if you did that first?
I was wondering about the logistics,
and then the saran wrap, because that's going to be a little bit looser. So the window wrap is your like perfect fit.
Yeah.
And then the other one's the looser fit, and then the Lexite cube around it.
The logistics of heat treating and possibly vacuum forming plastic around the cube is something that actually did cross my mind, and then I was like, you know, I don't know what that cube's made of, and if it will just combust if I try to do that around it.
Well, I mean, you're not going to be throwing it in the oven.
Yeah, but
you got
to get that plastic to
just a hair dryer. Just a hair dryer, man. On low is enough to get it to tighten up. That's all you're doing.
I guess so. I was thinking about the way that people make Stormtrooper armor parts.
No, vacuum forming? No, that would be silly.
Would it be silly?
Yes,
Hang on
it would
a second.
be.
In the context of this conversation that we're having about sleeving a cube, would that be silly?
Yes.
Okay.
No, because you got to have a whole vacuum form bed to do that right. I'm saying you can do this at home with a hairdryer and like stuff you very well may have aside from the Lexite cube. And if you have Lexite at home just ready to cut to make a box for this, good on you. But like 2 of those layers you can do by yourself and then go for the 3rd layer like some sort of crazy person.
I like
the real question is, do you have the other cards inside the cube still when you seal it up?
I like the good on you that you threw.
Yeah. Hey, there are cool people out there that are crazy makers and want to do stuff like that. And
hell yeah.
Just, I got a half sheet of Lexite still sitting around. I know what I'm doing this weekend. And then they do stuff like that. And I sit here and wonder how to find motivation to do basic things.
Yeah. I know that feeling all too well, not to get too deep into my side of things. But Energon Edition, the only other things off the top of my head, the new artwork on the character cards is sweet. A lot of I'm recognizing some of it. Where is it? I was trying to find Nemesis. Because when these teasers were going up and there were bits of artwork and bits of photos showing up behind those Cybertronian letters, Nemesis Prime is very much that power of the Primes. He's got that sword from the Amazon exclusive. So I recognize that. Slipstream's is that not the head design she had on the pack foil, like the actual outer pack of that convention pack?
Hold on, I have the outer pack of the convention pack there. Yeah, that is a similar head. That's just, I mean, pretty similar design altogether. Her cockpit is maybe more vertical in the artwork on the Energon Edition than it is on the pack.
Yeah.
But it's similar. I would say they gave similar key art to this artist.
Yeah,
and
by
said,
the
"Hey,
way,
do something like this."
as far as I know, we have not yet figured out who did the art on these cards. The I guess 12 new pieces of art on these character cards. I think these are new because like while Nemesis Prime does have that sword, that does not look like the packaging art that I recall from that figure. I might be wrong. I'm kind of going off the top of my head. Also, I like the video they put up. That was a pretty darn fancy video. Had a lot of good graphic stuff going on. So whoever put that together, hey, thumbs up. I'm definitely hoping to get a hold of one of these. I like I said, it's celebrating a game I really like, and I think it's pretty much put together quite solidly, especially for like the first go. I don't know. This is bullet point things off here. Aaron, overall, how you feeling about this thing? Give me a pro and give me a con.
I feel pretty good about it. This hits for what Transformers TCG is, where it can go and have fun with premium products. I think it hits it the nail on the head with the cards and some foiled battle cards. That I think is super pro. The packaging that comes with it, that it fits into and around everything. I think it's money. A con is I'm kind of with you. I go back and forth on the box of Wave 1 that comes with it.
Yeah, I mean, we're in a unique position where you and I were, I think, at our hardest into this game during Wave 1.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of Wave 1, and like I said, I'm okay getting more.
Yeah. I guess more what I'm thinking is I wonder if, like, so, like, 30 packs, if it was, like, 10, 10, and 10. 1, 2, and 3, or something.
Oh,
like, hey,
cool.
this is the first year, and you get to see a little bit of everything in the first year. But it's also, like I said, it's also a matter of, like, where are these coming from? Is this specifically supposed to be, like, it's on the first year anniversary, and so we want to do it again of the first set? Or if there's some other, like, driving factor but that gets probably more into, like, you know, just the idea that they started with and went so far down the road that then some schmuck like me coming along later like, but I really would like to see 10 of each pack rather than 30 or with the same one, but, you know, you guys do whatever. You know, that'd be maybe a different thing, because, like, do you think Wave 2 is going to get any sort of special...
I can't imagine them doing one of these for every single wave. That's actually not a con. That's kind of a big question mark I have now. I mean, let's assume that they even do another one of these. It can't. There's no way outside of using credit card material that a second one of these could just be this iterated, because by the time a second one of these happens, there is more than one wave. And if they were just to say, "Hey, here's a bunch of Rise of the Combiners," I think that would be way the hell less exciting.
Yeah,
I'm also not sure. I was going to say not sure. I'm more curious, because there's no way I'd be sure about the Wave 1 packs in here. Are these freshly printed for these boxes? Are they just busting open, like, leftover sealed stock to put in here? Is the collation on these packs identical to a booster box? Is there any different collation based on the improvements to collation from Wave 2 onwards?
That'd be a good question. I wonder if they're still sealed Wave 1 packs, if there's, like, hey, due to the fact that this has a UPC on it, the ratios have to be the same due to Europe's blind pack gambling laws or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
like, I'm really curious.
Because it'd be cool if they went like, hey, 1 to 50 on super rares is kind of better than 1 in 72. Let's go with that. Or, like, I don't know if I've heard anything about, like, swap parts.
Yeah, there's also the question of swap parts occupying a rare slot and not being usable in constructed.
Yeah.
It's just even things like the fact that the booster box of packs is split across 2 boxes. So I'm like, okay, how was that packed? And is that all coming from one pool of booster packs, or are those 15 pack pools collated separately? Or, like, is that 2 sets of collation, or is it one collated set of 30 packs? So there's a lot of and these are also pieces of information that technically are none of our business as the buyers of this stuff. That's something we've learned with toy collecting over the years. Is there are some questions that one has where it's kind of as a non-professional, not in the industry, it's actually not your business to know that part. So those are questions I just kind of throw out there just in case any of them stick and we can't get answers about them, like that collation stuff. If there was a precise necessity for the booster packs in this outside of just being another component of the set, overall. But yeah, my big pro is that we got this on year one and did it better than Magic, categorically. By doing the most exciting thing you could do with character cards for me, as far as making them more premium, outside of doing them from even fancier, more expensive materials. And it is a boon of this game that when it comes to doing premium styling, the character cards are inherently flexible. They can technically do anything with them because you never have to shuffle them. So I would love to see them get even crazier with this somewhere down the road. It's hey, we're gonna do, if I don't know, Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, for instance. It's the fanciest Optimus Prime card or whatever. So we're gonna do a limited edition that is actually made out of metal alloys, various different colored metal alloys. They are colored using anodization. So it's a simple coloring job. It's not artwork color. It's maybe Art Deco looking.
Man, even 3 colors doing an anodizations and masking and anodizations, that's a lot of manual work.
Oh yeah, but just imagine though, the fact that technically that would not make the card illegal to use in this game as far as the game mechanics. So I was just thinking what's the fanciest? Make it a solid piece of platinum, laser engraved. With the card art in a monochrome scheme or something like that. These are all unrealistic ideas, but the credit card material thing, it really fired some sparks in my head. I've said a couple cons, to be honest, already. That was a big pro for me. I mentioned, the dice are kind of they're neat, but and it would be nice. I think it's not really a con because now the door seems to be kind of open as this being a route to get them out there again. I really hope if we do get another one of these that we get all-out attack and tandem targeting system out there just for the sake of those cards all being available to the greater player base outside of that pack. So really, the only major con I see with this is it's a lot of nebulous stuff. It's saying that's the only major con is actually pretty incorrect given the way I talked about some other stuff. So I'd say if I was going to have a big bullet-pointed con, it is I really like this, and I'm not precisely sure how you iterate on this. It's at such a good precedent, but also not one that's easy to do sequels of, outside of the fancy pants character cards and the foil battle cards. And maybe that's all they need to do sequels to, depending on response, that's the thing that also we don't know really. I wonder if they might try doing it where there are no booster packs added in. It is just the cube, and it's a little bit less expensive. But also, I think when I say if they took out the booster packs, it'd just be $100. That also might not be true. We don't really know the manufacturing cost of credit card material. So those booster packs might be at a wholesale value, and their inclusion somewhat masks the premium price of the character cards in this. So I don't know. I don't really have a major con, I guess. I have just little niggling ones that I mentioned before. I'm actually just more kind of just curious about what this becomes and what precedents this has set that we might see sooner than another Energon edition. With the foiling and everything, the character cards. The conversation that we probably never can actually have about what precisely about this allows the 2018 convention pack cards to get printed again, as opposed to other venues. That's probably something we actually are not going to ever know.
The one way you can find out includes an employee non-disclosure agreement that says you can never say.
Yeah, even then they probably... I don't know. I don't know if this NDA is even stand enough to allow that to be shared.
No, I'm saying not our NDA.
Oh,
but Like, you work for Wizards now.
Go work on the game.
And after like 3 years of working in the mailroom, you can get an entry-level job into the accounting department, and then you can find out that Bob was just like, nah, it's too expensive.
Hey, you get this intern showing up going like, hey, listen, I know it's the first day and I got stuff to do. Why, how did Slipstream get into this thing and not the other one? And they're just like, hey, so we gotta let you go.
Yeah.
What a first impression you're making. Anyway, I'm curious what you all listening feel about this. Well, I mean, given that it's Transformers and it's card games, I'm sure there's a lot of, no matter if they're positive or negative, there are probably some heated emotions. So maybe like take a sec before you respond. Is what I'll say. I read all comments on these things, and sometimes if a comment's real heated, it's kind of like, whoa, I need to take a break for a second. Like, you get some of that residual heat, if you know what I mean. But yeah, like I feel like this is like, at worst, this being $200 is prohibitively expensive for folks who want to buy, you know, $5 to $6 packs of cards, and that's always going to be something. Yeah, I just realized maybe another reason to have the booster packs in here is this is a way to offset for someone who just wants the fancy stuff. They could sell the booster packs to a friend of theirs who's, we'll see. I'm trying to Nostradamus this whole thing. So, I can't, by the way. I don't have Future Sight yet. I'm working on it. So, let us know.
That set was released ages ago. It said Magic.
Oh, God. Nerds everywhere.
Got him.
Oh, no. Hey, I'm trying to update some of my pauper decks, actually, because I still have a couple blue ones with Gush in them. I just never updated them when they banned that. Also, I found out Magic Standard apparently is real busted right now, with some guy turning everything into deer or elk.
Into elk, yes.
Because we were playing Transformers last week, and people were talking about that. And then they kind of were leaning over to our Transformers table going like, y'all heard about that Oko? And I was like, I don't even play the game, but like, one of my Transformers just turned into an elk. What did you do? What do you Magic players do? What's going on? Anyway, let's just get into Magic stuff. To cap things off, I don't want to end too abruptly. So that's Energon Edition. I can't think of much else to say right now. I'm curious how Energon Edition affects lots of things going forward. Those aftermarket prices and future premium stuff. Before we close up, Aaron, we are about to have Wave 4 come out. We are mere days away as of this recording. And I'm curious, like, right off the top of your head, just go with the first answer that pops in your mind. What's something you're pretty excited to try out with Wave 4?
I really want to try something with the four ofs, the patrols.
Oh, the Micromasters.
With some of the various Micromasters, because now they have, each of them has like a Lord card, basically, where all of those guys get some level of benefit, and then find some fifth player that plays along with that, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I think Ken Nagel put up an article
Yes.
of a sample deck of that sort, and I'd like to try something like that, just because, yeah, hey, it's so cool. We've got these really big these really big cards. I want to use the small ones.
Yeah.
And go from there. Plus, there's a whole lot more, since all of them have some, like, tap, discard a card to do a thing type of action. It gives you a different, like, economy.
Mm-hmm.
In there, it gives you a definite different step into that, rather than just
you can make an
I turn mine sideways, you turn yours sideways, and they hit each other.
You can make an early decision, basically, depending on who's going first and what your opposition is, of like, do I want to just use tap abilities because that'll do more than just going and attacking with these guys, or am I facing another 4 wide and I want to maintain my rhythm with the opponent?
Yeah.
I've like, the deck I made was Ultra Magnus, Top Shot, and starter Wave 1 Optimus, and it's actually a really cool deck. It's very fun, and I found it was fun to make that decision early on too, of like, do I use Top Shot's ability right away just to draw a little bit more into my hand. And and then I was thinking, like, man, I want to do more with these Micromasters. That, for me, the big exciting thing about Wave 4 is from the outside in, and I'm not thinking like very competitively here. I'm thinking somewhat competitively, but also thinking of just longevity's sake. Wave 4 introduces, like, I can't actually off the top of my head just say the number of completely unique deck types Wave 4 is introducing. And I think I felt this way when the press the advantage ban came in, and it was stated specifically like that this game does not really want to power creep upwards. Is I feel like instead this game, there is power creep in this game, but it's sideways. It's outwards, and I really like that. Like you have casualties along the way. Rest in peace, Wave 1 Jazz. I can't think of a reason to use that guy anymore. But I'm going Wave 4. There's like every Micromaster team. Well, there's what, 4 of them, 5 of them? I think 4
something
of them?
like that.
Yeah,
4 of them.
They are they are 4 decks now, akin to the combiners. The way that every combiner is technically a deck, which means they're not like 4 decks that are like we can't wait to unlock all the potential. It's like some of them are probably just going to be better than the other ones. But that's 4 easy decks right off the top. But then you have these characters who are just decks themselves. We got the super rare Lord Megatron is a deck, given his mechanics. Super rare Galaxy Optimus is a deck. Omega Supreme is a deck. Triptychon is a deck. Super rare Jetfire, super rare, right? I think. Whatever that Jetfire is. The 15-star Jetfire is a deck. And that's 7 decks off the top of my head that are not just like a permutation of necessarily, like, or at least the way I'll say it is a permutation of existing deck. Some of them probably are in their mechanics or their basic layout, but like those are character driven, like those are decks that are built around a character. There's like a bunch of them now. Getting at it.
Like on top of that, like since we now have that alternate win con.
That one too.
That's in there.
Is that going to
like
be a
that?
deck?
I've really been looking at like my Cosmos deck that I put together.
Yeah.
Taking that and like, you know, at one point in time with that Cosmos deck, when I was at the tournament, I had more than half of the deck in my hand. Mm-hmm. Like now get in, you know, a little bit of some other technology in there, and it very well could, you know, find a way to get cards KO'd or potentially change. Well, most of the actions or most of the upgrades in there were wanting to be things that weren't like the stackable ones where you can have 3 armored paddings, you can have 3 cargo trailers to just have a smaller deck.
Yeah.
But stuff like that, like I think that there's interesting stuff to be had in just that, like, hey, I'm going to build a deck that your first couple of turns of taking a look at it, you're going to be wondering what I'm doing, and then I drop this card to start burning cards out of my deck. Oh, alternate win con. Now I've got a different race going than what I did before. I'm not trading back and forth with you. I'm trying to get it to happen before you can get everything discarded.
Also, let's be real. That Decepticon one, where it's like build upgrades onto someone and then have them deal 15 direct damage. That's not the only one, but that's an alternate win con as well. It's just that Autobot card, whose name I can't remember now, but hopefully in the video version you're all seeing, that one is like win the game. That is a legit alternate win con. But I mean, there are other win cons in the, like what I would call win cons in the game. Like, I feel like, I mean, you know, that one where you deal 15 damage is like, yeah, set up so that 15 damage is kind of like, will break your opponent's entire line, if not kill their last character. But there's also like Nemesis Prime is like, cycle 3 times and you've basically won.
Right.
Or I feel, this is actually not a proven one, but I feel like there is a win con somewhere with Menasor, where the idea is once you form Menasor, the fact that you have 2 actions per turn, your deck is somehow built around that being your win con. That like, once I form Menasor and I can do 2 actions a turn, I win. Because I built my deck to make those 2 actions like unrelenting. The problem is getting there right now. Because the Sunicons are still kind of struggling in a lot of the gameplay I've seen, which is like, it's frustrating, not in a bad way necessarily, because I just feel like their deck is sitting there and I just can't see it. But yeah, I'm excited about Wave 4. I'm excited to see how I'm excited to see how people possibly get enough testing done to feel supremely confident about the Energon Invitational. I mean, I know how they can possibly do it is play the hell a lot of the game. But I think this has introduced so much new stuff that, like, we're not even talking about the interactions of Wave 4 with the last 3 waves of characters and cards.
Just Wave 4 with itself.
Yeah. And for instance, the sheer number of new secret actions, I am excited as heck to build a deck with Major Shockwave that is stuffed with secret actions, and just that and Infiltrate and the new blue pip counter spell, just to see how much I can screw with the opponent while emptying their hand and just smacking them with Shockwave and seeing if that works. Like trying to see if the Stunticons work again, trying to tweak Metroplex and Devastator, given the decks I already have put together for them. Like, yeah, I'm rubbing my hands together here. What's also going to be crazy is, like, I'm very busy this week, and then this comes out, and then I'm also at a toy show on Sunday, missing one of the release events at one of the local stores because they put it on Sunday. So, like, I can't even just go nose deep into cards on release. Like, I can go pretty nose deep, but then I also have to get ready to take a bunch of toys to try to sell, and I need at least a day to prep for that. So, woo! For some people, that would be like, yeah, you're living a normal life, but I don't know. I'm not very good at it yet. That said, I think that's all we really got to talk about. Aaron, anything else you want to throw out there?
No, Extra Life was this weekend, and it went mostly okay. Still slightly short of my shave my head goal. So I'm good, I guess.
I guess a net positive in that I gotta shave my head.
Yeah. No, it was all right, other than like this first 6 or 8 hours of the day, somebody was DDoSing the Extra Life donation pages, which there's like a VIP circle in hell. For whoever was doing that. Hope they go there soon.
I want to harass and potentially steal from charity.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So yeah, find me on the internet and see where you could donate to make me go over my shaved my head number.
And that's on topic because the Transformers trading card game is a game. So, come up with donations for Aaron that relate to the game. Like, tell him, hey, do a thing with your cards and I'll do this. I'll give you this much. Don't eat your cards. That's dangerous. Yeah. Hope you all are excited about Wave 4. If you're listening to this, I mean, I'm assuming you have some interest in the TCG. I know some of you who listen to these actually aren't playing. You just, like to spectate it. And to you, I give a big hearty nod. I'm actually curious about y'all's interpretation of the Energon Edition, folks who are not really in the game at all. Especially given the comparison to the Mythic Edition, given that it's not all cardboard, that we're getting fancy plastic cards as well. Yeah, I'm curious what people think of it. But I'm excited about this thing coming out. It's coming out right before PAX Unplugged, which is going to make that pretty exciting as well. I'm definitely going to be at PAX Unplugged. If you all are going, anyone listening, and you're there, like, hit me up. Let's hang out. Outside of the Transformers TCG, I just have a small checklist of things I want to look into. Giant killer robots, and what was it? There's a game that Mondo's putting out called Unmatched, and then there's a Bruce Lee, and if they have the Bruce Lee at the convention, I want to get the Bruce Lee add-on. Apparently they worked with the estate on that. True story. And I started looking at. I'm real bad about looking at games where the starter box is apparently a very good Condain thing. I was just looking at one by Corvus Bell, the Infinity people. They're Italian.
Yeah, one of those.
They have a skirmish game, which is apparently pretty cool, and I keep forgetting its name because it's a weird word. But I saw it at Meeple Mart the other day when I was looking for some other stuff, and I was like, this looks really cool, and I looked up some stuff about it. Apparently it's pretty solid. Aristea is what it's called. So I have a small agenda of things I want to do, but most of my playing is probably going to be Transformers. I'm trying to talk myself out of bringing any minis for any other games because it's like, will I really even do any of that?
That's a lot of space and luggage as well.
I'm also planning to not bring a checked luggage, so I'm like, I don't want to bring anything just in case I buy anything for the games that I want to eventually play back at home. The giant killer robot stuff, like, I'll quickly share this. Meeple Mart had a damaged copy of GKR go up. That's Weta Workshop's tabletop game that they kickstarted a couple years ago.
Okay.
And that's a very expensive game. And so a damage box one went up on Meeple for like $30 off. And I'd been kind of waiting for one to get cheap. So I was like, let's do it. The damage was like minimal. It's like the top right corner of the box is dented. Oh no. $30 off. Okay. The expansions, there's 2 expansions. They have them both at MeepleMart, but like Weta apparently like marked them way down for some sale back in March, and I'm curious if they have them at the show, if they mark them as a bundle or something like that. So I'm kind of waiting. But then if I get a bundle of the 2 things there, like one of those boxes is like the boxes are enormous, and I don't know how I'd take them home. So I'm already thinking about all this stuff. Anyway, that all aside, I'm rambling. Thank you all for listening. This is WTF at TCG. Aaron, thank you for joining me on this
Hey, you're very welcome.
This impromptu recording. And hopefully we will have some more of these going forward. We definitely will need to talk a little bit about Wave 4 once Wave 4 is actually out and played a little bit. But in the meantime, if you want more Transformers TCG stuff, there is a fine roster of creators in the community. There are also a lot of them which are pushing real hard to have more written content, which I think is very cool, because written content is incredibly hard to like track and monetize the way that video and audio content is. I said content a whole bunch. I'm so sorry. Myself, like I don't like writing stuff all that much, because I like writing scripts and then reading them, because they always come off better when I read them than if you read my scripts, you'd be like, what the hell's wrong with you? What are all these extra commas for? And I'm like, those are to help me read it out loud. But yeah, check all that stuff out. I'm the only reason I'm not name dropping anyone is at this point there are so many solid creators. I don't want to risk missing someone. So just go do some searching. They're all going to have lots of coverage of Wave 4. A lot of them have coverage leading up to Wave 4, talking about all this, now that the whole thing's spoiled. We know all the cards. Like, there's a lot of pre-talk already.
Yeah.
So hit that up if you're curious. As always, me and Aaron like to make ourselves available to answer questions on social media. So hit us up if you have any questions or thoughts. We don't actually like have any cool inside info that we can like answer actual questions about. Like that time we did a panel and people thought we were from Wizards, but
yeah, we should have leaned into it more. But as I recall, this is how my brain recalls it. I was about to, and then you kind of said we're not with Wizards before I could start pretending I was with Wizards. Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I was
as always looking out for you before you do something extra stupid.
Like what? If I said, yeah, listen, we at Wizards, like, I know we got roots with D&D, and we got lots of blood sacks. That's our word for blood sacrifices in the office to power our creative motivations. But hey,
point that I would just stand up and walk off the stage.
No, Aaron over there wrangles the chickens. I forgot where I was going with that. Nowhere, because that's a bunch of nonsense. We don't work for Wizards. They don't do blood sacrifices that I'm aware of. That's been a podcast. Aaron, thank you for joining me.
Hey, you're very welcome.
Thank you all for listening. We will talk to you later.
What the fuck's going on down there?